Hey, what's up? Welcome to Degen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts, like the charts behind me. And so I wanted to go over two stocks because they both have earnings coming up this week. And so one of those is Luminar Technologies, ticker symbol LAZR. I'll go over that one in a minute. First, I'm going to go over Rivian, ticker symbol RIVN, which has earnings on Tuesday, November 7th. So depending on when you're watching this, it could be today. So the things that I wanted to go over with these two stocks is that they both recently had gaps formed. So if we're looking at Rivian here, you can see there is a gap formed that would have been between November 1st and November 2nd. And to fill that gap, the price would need to come down to around $16.30. And so we did see what looks like a topping tail on November 3rd, and then Monday, November 6th, we saw red candle, price coming down. And so what I would like to see, if I was going long Rivian, I would want to see this gap be filled before earnings. So that would be during the trading day of Tuesday. I would like to see this gap be filled so that earnings, if they're good and the stock does take off in price, there would be no gap left behind that would eventually need to be filled. And so if the stock does come down to 16.30 tomorrow or whenever that happens, what are some price targets that I could see? One would be right around $20 a share. You can see there are a couple wicks that touch that, as well as this tail of the candle here that was on September 25th. Another level that I think could potentially go to would be to fill this gap that was here. And so that would be around a price of $21.50, something like that, in order to fill that gap. Then you can also see these yellow lines that I have drawn here, which are potential further up levels of resistance based on prior touch points. And so that's basically what I see with Rivian. If this gap is not filled before earnings, I could see the price coming down to retest not only this line to fill that gap, but this trend line that I have here. So that would be approximately at about a price of $15.80, or coming down to this line, which is around $15.50. So regardless, I feel like there is some downside with Rivian, but I'm not sure if that's going to relate to earnings or not. Really tough to predict price action around earnings. So those are my thoughts on that. And now I'm going to switch over to Luminar Technologies, ticker symbol LAZR. And so a couple things to start. I made a video on this previously that looks like there's some bullish divergence with the lower lows forming in the price, whereas with the RSI, you're getting higher lows. And what we also saw with Luminar, like we saw with Rivian, was a recent gap that was formed. Actually, two gaps. One was filled today with this big red down candle, but there still is one to be filled that would be coming down to a price of right around $3.20. And one good thing about Luminar versus Rivian is there's one extra day before earnings. Earnings are on Wednesday, November 8th, after hours. Both stocks after hours earnings reports. And so that gives us a little bit more time to fill this gap. But, if that is not filled before earnings, I could see it coming down to retest this line at $3.03, which is an all-time low for the stock. And so what I'm hoping for is over the course of Tuesday and Wednesday during trading hours, this gap gets filled, great news is released on earnings, and the price then goes up to test two levels that I see. One being at right around $4, which is what the price was at during open on Monday, November 6th. And so actually not $4, it was actually $3.99 was the high for the day. And that was also the open price. Candle just came down during the day, $4. And actually from September 26th, the low of that day was exactly $4. And so I see that as a fairly significant level for Luminar to be able to break through. A, because it's psychological, round number $4, and B, because it had served as support before and now looks like it's serving as resistance. Beyond $4, there is a gap, just like with Rivian, and to fill this gap, that will be going up to a price of around $4.73. And so, yeah, so I'm really curious to see what happens with these two stocks as far as earnings goes, which we will find out for Rivian Tuesday after hours. That would be November 7th, and Luminar Wednesday, November 8th after hours. And if you did enjoy this content, let me know in the comments, like the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thanks a lot for watching.